My name is Kamaria Laffrey. I am from Florida, and I have a 14-year-old daughter, a husband, and I love drinking coffee. I was first diagnosed with HIV in 2003. I had gotten pregnant from a one-night stand, and then hid the pregnancy. And after that, some time went by, and I had to tell my family that I was pregnant. I registered at our local women's clinic to give birth, and delivered the baby, and then took her home to try to breastfeed, and got a phone call saying that any attempts I was making I needed to stop, but they didn't say why. They just said I needed to come in to the doctor and talk to them. And I came into my OBGYN's office with a 2-week-old baby with a lot of questions, and I was told I was HIV positive. So I immediately thought of death. I started planning my funeral. I felt really scared. I thought my baby was gonna die. I didn't realize I was gonna have to have her tested for a whole year. Every 3 months I had to give her treatment an hour away from home, and it was a lot to deal with. It was really overwhelming. So I lived with my mother and my grandmother, and I spent a lot of time waiting till they finished eating to fix my plate of food or wash dishes or wash clothes or take a shower or any of those things, because I didn't know if, with my grandmother being elderly, I didn't know if I could possibly transmit the virus to her, if she accidentally used my washcloth or things of that nature. So I didn't have an opportunity to internalize in a positive way. I was internalizing a lot of negative things, as well as experiencing postpartum depression because I was a brand new mom. In a sense, I was doing what I see a lot of women do. I was holding it inside myself and not sharing it with anyone else except the people I thought needed to know in my very small circle. But once I felt free, it changed the game for me, and I realized that other women needed to hear my voice, other people needed to hear that there are individuals that look like them and live like them that are living with this, that need to come together in solidarity. I've been raised to believe that when you're uncomfortable, it's easier for you to learn because you're vulnerable. So I always talked about HIV, like just to throw people off. I was known as being this very quiet, conservative young woman, so the minute I said HIV, you know, all attention and eyes were on me, even though I don't like attention. When it came time for an opportunity for me to educate, I felt like I was making a difference. One thing that I learned about myself, I was more than my diagnosis. That was one of the main things that helped me through that year, that I was more than just a medical stamp in a chart. As a woman of color, I do not feel like I have control over my identity. I feel like I'm constantly having to battle what society sees for people of color. I'm constantly having to feel I have to prove wrong. Adding into that, as a woman living with HIV, I'm constantly having to fight the fact that this is not a gay white man's disease. I feel like I'm always having to fight for my identity, and I will always fight for my identity. So navigating the journey of taking my treatment every day is really difficult, especially on days where I feel fine. There's no reason to swallow a pill, as you know, as I've been brought up where you only take medicine when you're sick. So knowing that even when I feel fine, that the continued dedication to taking my treatment will prolong a healthy life, knowing that and putting it into practice are two different things. Life does get in the way. I do have reminders and friends and accountability partners that, you know, kind of tap me on the shoulder and let me know, you know, that they're thinking about me and they care about me, and just asking in general of, you know, how my treatment is going. When's the last time I saw my doctor? Have I gone to do my labs? So having those things in place, staying committed to the work where I'm listening to other people that maybe have bigger challenges than I do, but they still find a way. And then realizing like, well, I have nothing to really be complaining about. I need to also stay on top of this and go to the doctor and stay on my treatment and make sure I'm taking it as it's prescribed. And if I'm having problems with it, to definitely mention it to the doctor and try to find another path or another way. So I always make sure I don't go a day without laughter, even if it's at myself, which is quite often. I try to remember that life is more than HIV. Life before HIV was okay, and that I can still have pieces of that again. It doesn't have to absolutely end who I am as Kamaria. Often women are seen as, especially Black women, are told that they're strong enough to handle things, so they don't allow themselves to really feel, and become very isolated within themselves of just making sure they're taking care of everyone else and pushing through, instead of focusing on that this is something that's changing their life and it's happening to them, and it's okay if they're angry, it's okay if they're scared, it's okay if they're not okay. The one thing I always tell women that call me crying because they're scared or crying because they don't know how to disclose to their family, or don't want people to know that they're on this treatment, is I tell them that they are enough, and then I ask them to stand in front of a mirror and say it until they believe it every day. When I hear the words positively fearless, even without the context of HIV, I hear empowerment, I hear strength, I hear resilience, I hear looking at a challenge and seeing it and knowing that there's another side to that that you can overcome, that even though the fear is there, there's a way to navigate that and find this self-empowerment to just kind of kick it out the way and say that, you know, HIV doesn't have to be this horrible thing. Stigma doesn't have to be a part of my life. So positively fearless is just like being badass and just saying that, you know, I'm not gonna let this stop me.